And what an incredible moment this is for all of us. With more than 1.25 million students watching from 8,000 schools across all 50 U.S. states, Canada, and 37 countries, we know this is a moment many of our classmates have been hoping for. Audrey Nuna's work shows young people that being bold, creative, and yourself is the greatest superpower.
K-pop Demon Hunters has received major international awards recognition, especially for its music. The song Golden, performed by EJ, Audrey Nuna, and Ray Ami, has earned multiple Grammy Award nominations, including Song of the Year, Best Song Written for Visual Media, and Best Pop Duo Group Performance, as well as a nomination for Best Compilation Soundtrack for Visual Media. The film itself has been nominated for the Golden Globe Award for Best Animated Motion Picture, and Golden has received a Golden Globe nomination for Best Original Song. In addition, Golden was officially shortlisted for Best Original Song at the Academy Awards, the Oscars, placing Audrey Nuna and the film among the most recognized animated and musical projects of the year.
Welcome, everybody, to Young Citizens of the World, the largest global youth icon network where kids lead the interviews. I'm your host and incoming board chair, Catherine Warren, and I'm so grateful to be joining you today from the traditional territories of the Coast Salish peoples and in the spirit of connecting young people everywhere through curiosity, creativity, and conversation. Our guest today is the voice behind Mira in the movie K-pop Demon Hunters. In front of the camera, she is just as bold. Get ready for superstar Audrey Nuna. Woo! 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 And to young citizens of the world from wherever you are joining us across our global network of 1.25 million students, please give Audrey a warm welcome. Audrey, it's great to have you speak with us today. The kids have questions for you, and of course, so do I. So I will kick things off by asking, before you were Audrey Nuna, the artist, what was the most unexpected thing you believed you'd be when you were in elementary school?
Hi, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be doing this. Truly, was just waiting all day because I was really excited. But before I was Audrey Nuna, those are good times. I would say something unexpected. I don't know if it's super unexpected, but I had a point in my life where I wanted to be an astronaut when I was younger because I thought that the idea of going to space was really cool. I also thought maybe it'd be cool to be a doctor, but for the astronaut thing, I got into high school and I was really bad at physics. So I decided it wasn't for me because that's a really important topic that you need to be really good at to be an astronaut. So, I was like, maybe math, and math is not so much my thing.
A lot of people make a connection between math and music. And so maybe math is your hidden thing. Who knows? You're also following an interview that Young Citizens of the World did really recently with the astronaut Colonel Chris Hadfield.
That is so cool.
Cool
people.
We really do. Yeah. The musical hit Golden is up for tons of awards, including Grammys and Oscars. And of course, it's on repeat in homes everywhere. What is it about this song that people are responding to at this specific moment?
I would say that it's a song that really brings bright energy into the world. I think we all know that, we need that right now. We always need that, but especially nowadays, I think people want to feel joyful and hopeful. I feel like sometimes when things are dark in the world, we get the sense, especially as adults, that there's no room for finding joy in every day. And I think the beautiful thing about Golden is that there's so much hope in the song. And it's really tied to the story of, as a person, having a dream. And I think that's something that no matter where you're from, who you are, you know, what color is your favorite color, what ice cream flavor is your favorite flavor. I think no matter what, people always have a dream, and then that's a very human thing that a lot of people have resonated with.
Mm-hmm. Very uplifting, and it's conveyed through the lyrics and through the musicality and your beautiful voice. So thank you for that, Audrey. Now we're going to do something special today. We're going to hear from the student choir at Our Lady of Perpetual Help, a school in Vancouver, Canada. We have a number of questions, Audrey, from the students. And so I'm going to turn it over to the festival choir for their first question.
If you could meet your younger self,
what advice would you give her?
and how do you think she would react to your role as Mira in K-pop Demon Hunters?
Thank you!
Wow, thank you for that lovely question. Also, I like your guys' uniforms. Pretty swaggy. My younger self, wow. I was super shy growing up. Like even in school, raising my hand and asking a question was such a hard thing for me to do. And performing was really where I found my confidence and comfort as a student. You know, I didn't have that many friends. I didn't go to a lot of school functions. And I think that if I could tell my younger self, especially in school, one thing, it would be that there's nothing to be afraid of. I think I was really scared a lot of times as a young student of what people would think of me, or, you know, I don't know, just school can be a scary time, I think, especially socially for kids. So if I could go back in time, I would tell myself, you know, there's nothing to be scared of, and you should have so much fun. You know, those are good times where you don't have to go to work. All you have to do is study and do well on your tests. And also you owe it to yourself to have fun and find your friends who you really connect with. I think that's really important. So yeah, I would say just have more fun and don't be scared. You know, there's nothing to be scared of. My younger self would probably love the fact that I'm singing for Mira, because my favorite color is pink. My room was all pink growing up. It was pink with a bunch of Jonas Brothers posters all over the walls. So I think she would love the fact that I'm singing for an animated character. I always loved cartoons growing up. I loved Adventure Time. I loved Courage the Cowardly Dog. I love Pororo, which is a Korean one for younger kids that for some reason as an older kid I also liked. But yeah, I would say she's really, really excited about it and thinks it's the coolest thing ever.
Thank you, Audrey. So have more fun, find your people, and maybe be that person for someone else who is shy, right? And make others feel welcome too. So thank you for that. Now we have question number 2, also from OLPH School Festival Choir.
What's the most memorable moment working with the other singers on K-pop Demon Hunters?
That was so cute. Shout out to, what was it, OLPH? Shout out to
OLPH, yeah, Our Lady of Perpetual Health. Mm-hmm.
Choir girls rule the world, by the way. I would say, you know, we didn't actually meet during the recording for the film. So I had known Ray and I had known EJ separately, but it had been a while since I had seen both of them. So really the first time we all together met was at the premiere. I would say my favorite memory so far of working with them was when we were rehearsing for Jimmy Fallon. And this was going to be our first time ever performing Golden anywhere. The first time ever performing the song was going to be on live television with Jimmy Fallon. So we were all very nervous, and we were all very excited. And I remember that after 3 days of rehearsing for 8 hours a day, some of the last run-throughs that we did were the ones that finally felt like, oh my God, we're locked in. We got this. Like, I think the last probably 5 run-throughs that we did were the ones where we felt like, oh my God, are we a band? Like, is this really happening? Because we kind of broke down all of those barriers of being nervous about performing on TV, being nervous about doing the song for the first time. I think we got through all those nerves in the first 2 days. And then there was just a moment after one of them that we all looked at each other and we were like, we were looking at our movement director too, Max, who's helped us so much. And we were like, we got this. So I think that was a really beautiful moment where we hadn't had that much time to spend together. So we really went intense on rehearsals, and, you know, we just did the thing. So I would say that that was my favorite memory so far.
And what kind of response did the live audience give you?
I mean, it was so much love. It was so much love, even for the dress rehearsals. You know, the staff on The Tonight Show, Jimmy Fallon, had brought some of their kids in, and they had given us so much love and support. And we just felt so well received. We didn't know what to expect because it was literally our first time ever doing it. But you know, that crew is so welcoming, and Jimmy Fallon's also such a cool guy. He talked to my mom about kimchi for like 10 minutes. So that was pretty cool. And it's really such a memory that we're going to keep forever.
That's great. There's something about live, isn't it? And that's what we've got here as well. So thank you, Audrey. Now we have question 3, also from OLPH School Festival Choir.
What sparked your passion for singing? And when you first started your music career, what challenges did you face? Thank you.
Thank you guys for that question. Again, the hoodies, very swaggy. I like all these uniforms. What sparked my passion for singing? It's something that I've always loved to do. My mom tells me that when I was a baby and I would eat something yummy, I would start singing before I could even speak. So I think it's something that I've always been passionate about. And then I remember when there was a few moments, but when I was around 5 or 6 years old, we had one computer at my grandma's house, and we all shared. And sometimes we'd go on YouTube and just watch random videos. And for some reason, one day my uncle pulled up a video of Whitney Houston in, I think it was 1993 or 4, singing at the Super Bowl, the national anthem. And if you haven't seen that video, you should go look it up. It's probably the best performance of the national anthem live ever that I've seen. And I remember sitting there as a 5 or 6 year old and being like, just so moved, you know, chills on my body, and just didn't understand how a human could make that type of noise. So I think that was a moment where I was like, I would really love to sing and keep singing, because I had interest already, but that was a moment that really sparked my passion, I would say. And then what kind of challenges have I faced? There's a lot of challenges. I'm not going to lie to you guys, because I think anytime you want to do something with all of your heart, there's going to be challenges that you have to overcome. And for me, I would say, there's so many, but I think that as somebody who loves music, loves art, I think I'm very sensitive. You know, my heart is very sensitive, and I have a lot of feelings that I keep bottled up inside. So I do think that learning how to take sometimes criticism, you know, sometimes not everyone's going to love what you do. Everyone has an opinion. The world is big. There's so many different types of people. So really learning how to value and consider my opinion on myself the most important. You know, I think that's a skill that even in school we can practice, of just building our confidence, spending time with ourselves, learning about ourselves, learning what kind of music we like, learning the type of people we like to be around. I think learning yourself and valuing your own opinion first before thinking so much about the opinions of everyone in the world. I think that's a challenge that I had to face when I entered the music industry, because it's sometimes a pretty difficult industry to make a career in.
You also, I understand, have a history of experimenting and expressing different kinds of musical genres. Is that something that you think really helped you define the type of singer you are today?
I do think so. I've always been more interested in creating something that hasn't been done before. That's just personally what excites me and um, just gets me up in the morning, that feeling of creating something new and something fresh. So I would say that despite all the opinions of other people or whatever it is, all the noise in the world, I do think that making music and my craft, my creativity, my art is somewhere where I feel very fearless and I feel like I really don't care naturally if you don't like this because I like this. And I think that for every kid and, even adult watching this, finding those spaces in your life where you really just don't care what anyone thinks because you just love it so much. And we all know that, love is the strongest force in the world. So finding the things you love and give you fearlessness is super important.
Wonderful. All right, we have question 4, and this one is about performance.
In the process of performing as Mira, did you experiment with or change your voice to suit the character?
And did singing for an animated character feel different from creating music as a solo artist?
Thank you.
Awesome question. I wouldn't say that I put on a different voice for Mira, only because I feel very connected to her and I feel like we are built from a very similar cloth or cut from a very similar cloth. And it didn't feel like acting for me as much as it felt like channeling a different side of myself. I'm really lucky that my first time, technically singing/voice acting for songs was a character that was so natural for me and so similar to me already, I would say. So I wouldn't say I put on a different voice per se, but and the second part of the question was what was the challenge?
Did singing for an animated character feel different from creating music as a solo artist?
Oh, yeah. Okay. That's also a great question. It felt very different. It felt very different because even though the character is really similar to me, I would say the songs are very different from the music that I make. Not in energy, because the energy is kind of similar, but in terms of the range and the kind of tone of my voice that I'm using, the register of my voice that I'm using for these songs, they're very different. I was using my mixed register for all you choir kids. I know you know what I'm talking about, but just like a different part of my voice in a different range. And that was really challenging. Rapping in Korean for the first time, that was a little bit challenging, but so, so fun. Also, when it comes to, I think, making music for a film is such a bigger team than I'm used to because for my music, it's really just me, my producer, my mixer, and then maybe, a few writers come in and out. But it's a very small team. So I'm really in charge of a lot of things like how I want my vocals to sound, how I want the mix to sound, writing the songs, like all of these things that I'm usually in charge of, all of a sudden they weren't a part of the process anymore. My only job for this gig was to just show up and, channel Mira and be Mira for the time that I was recording. That was so fun because I got to just let go. I got to let go of feeling like I need to be in control of everything that this sounds like. And I just had one job. And sometimes focusing on one thing is so liberating and freeing. So I was able to just have so much fun with, even sometimes I had to do like 30 takes of the same line because our music director, Ian, is crazy in the best way. And he would make us really get it so perfect. Having that other person to push me also was really, really cool.
It's so great to be surrounded by a team of experts when everyone is a super high performer and they're all working towards one goal. I can imagine that was really a thrill. Yeah. Audrey, I have a question. If you could leave a secret message inside your music for kids watching this, something that adults don't need to hear, what would that secret message be?
Oh my gosh, secret message. I love secret messages.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I think I know what it is. My secret message would be that adults, you have to close your ears for this, but I would say adults are not always right. And I think you grow up thinking that adults are always right, but you have to realize that adults are just older versions of you who are also just trying to figure it out and doing life for the first time. They don't know what they're doing either. So I would say we're all trying our best, but just know that not everything that every adult tells you is always going to be correct. And you really need to learn how to think for yourself in this world, because there's so much information going around all the time. And it's hard to find your truth. So I would say every time you hear something, make sure in your brain there's a little person who's like asking, do I really believe this is true? I should do my research and figure out if this is true. I should, you have so many, especially nowadays, you guys have so much access to, great resources. Obviously, there's a lot of misinformation out there too, but there's still books, by the way, and there's still, internet and libraries. And I think it's really good to just learn as much as you can and decide how you feel for yourself. So that would be my secret message.
All right, everyone, you have a secret message that you can take with you from Audrey. And my ears were closed. So someone will have to tell me what that is when they grow up. All right, we have a student co-host who would like to thank you, Audrey. Let's turn it over to, again, OLPH.
Audrey, thank you for bringing your energy and your story to our 1.25 million students. You've inspired us to dream bigger, be ourselves, and create boldly.
Thank you so much for that sweet message.
It was really heartfelt. And Audrey, I really appreciate how open you've been with young citizens of the world and to our student reporters and other students everywhere who are thinking about questions to ask your icons. It's your questions that lead these powerful conversations. And now, before we say goodbye, would you be willing to sing a few lines of a song that feels right for the students watching today?
This is not singing, it's more rapping, but we could do a fit check for my Napalm era if you guys want to do that.
Audrey, our kids at Our Lady of Perpetual Help also have a musical goodbye gift. They've been practicing Golden and would love to perform a short piece of it for you right now.
Woohoo!
We're going up, it's our moment. You never moment, gotta be golden. We're going up, it's our moment. You never moment, gotta be golden. Up, high, it's our moment. Shine as a light, gotta be golden. Up, high, now, shine as a light, gotta be
That was so good.
Wow. Well, for everyone watching, that was for you. And for all of us at Young Citizens of the World, thank you so much, Audrey.
So much. That round was so cool. I never heard it in a round. And also the falsetto was crazy. You guys
Amazing.
That was actually amazing. Thank you so much for that. I'm never going to forget that.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.
See you guys.
Bye.